Sheen, is there something you'd like to say, sweet lady?
Yes, thank you. Hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, when you talk about that many times and I always agree with it. One situation I wonder this is going to make any difference moving forward for me. I've been, doing the healing thing following you since 2015. And but only recently, sometime last year, this big, you know, event happened, collapse happened in my life. That was when I realized there was some serious spiritual issue hidden in my family that I wasn't aware of. But
Uh,
now it came to the open, and then I used to feel like, okay, something doesn't add up, but I never knew what it was. And so part of me, I feel like, wow, that many years that I fought so hard to heal myself, to find peace, and all of that, how it happened was painful. However, now it's everything is in the open. So even though that wasn't me in particular, would this have a effect on my health moving forward? Now I'm, clear what my life is or is not. I'm sorry, I can't go into too much of details
oh, that's so.
as much as if it makes sense to you. However much you can answer, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think you can have an unresolved spiritual issue that's not affecting you. That's my personal belief. I think it's impossible. It's like saying, there's a dead mouse or dead rat over there in the corner, but, he's dead. He's not going to hurt me. I'll deal with that later. And then I mean, it's a silly analogy. 6 months later, your whole place is stinking and you're wondering why. Oh, yeah, the dead rat over there. That's what these unresolved spiritual issues do. They become little stress bombs inside your unconscious mind until they're resolved. I mention this so often, it's unlikely probably any of you have not heard it if you followed me, unless this is like your first time here. But that new research study that caught my eye about a year and a half ago, adverse childhood experiences are the reason. And then in the body of the study, it went on to basically say they're the reason for everything. They're the reason for your health, for your relationship problems, for your work. Basically, any problem you can have, that's going to be the source of it. And that's really what Southwestern Medical School found when they were searching for the source of illness, disease, cancer, all of that. They found the same thing and said, we're naming it cellular memories, but it's your memories that have anger and fear and low self-worth and relationship conflict that have never been resolved. So I don't believe you can have one that is not negatively affecting you. Now, I would say everyone has these issues. Everyone. So, and your stress barrel is really very efficient. So, if you've got one or two and it's not filling up your stress barrel, yeah, maybe you can still have a great life, but it could have been a little bit better if you had resolved those. And if you feel stuck, or like you said earlier, something's just not right. And that's a very interesting phrase to me. You can almost see someone thinking, man, I don't know what it is, but something's just not right. That's the definition of a heart issue because the definition of unconscious is you don't know what it is. And that's where 99% of the issues are, including ones passed down from your ancestry. So that is like, example number one of a spiritual issue when you look at your life and everything else and you can't figure it out. I don't know I can't find it, but something's just not. That's a heart issue. That's a spiritual issue. And that's where I would use the codes or the interventions in paradise to kind of go down in there and find those things automatically and resolve them. Harry, you want to add anything?
Yeah, well, she talked about how she went through something difficult and now she's kind of come out into the open. And I think a lot depends on how that happened and, whether there's unforgiveness or hurt relationships or residual anger or anything like that.
Right.
And that could be a good thing to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Sheen. I interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think this what happened, I'm beginning to see that what happened to me is what happened for me. I think a lot of things were revealed, a lot of my own fear and my own past trauma were triggered, and so it's still in the pretty hard season for me in life, but I feel more hopeful.
Well, can I interrupt just a second?
Sure.
One thing I would recommend is if you go to our website, dralexanderloyd.com, on the top left is a button, Research and Resources. And the last resource is an exhaustive negative emotion feeling chart. So if you have a situation like something's just not right, even though I'm not sure what it is, that's a feeling. That's the difference in feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions aren't consistent with your circumstances, where emotions typically are. So go find that feeling in that exhaustive list and then use the codes or the paradise intervention or both on that feeling that does not make sense with your circumstances, but it's what resonates with you as far as this thing that doesn't seem right until it's below a one and you no longer feel it doesn't seem right.
I actually have been using that page. It's been really helpful. Now that emotion changes, that kind of a
Yeah.
key emotion changes. What I also want to mention is that the third intervention about the mourning and groaning,
Mhm.
the Romans 8. When I just learned it, I wasn't sure. I was a little apprehensive. I wasn't sure if that would work for me because I considered myself more of a left-brained person,
Yeah.
and, however, there's always part of me that there's the artsy side of me. I love images. That's helped my healing a lot. So once I tried it, especially in the situation, I was just not sure exactly how I was feeling, but I knew there was a lot in me, and I tried it. I have to say, I almost love it more than anything else now with the healing. It just the emotions that came out and the depth of the emotions, not just the present situation, but the past and even generationally. I feel like it was just all coming out of me. I shocked myself, like how effective this simple intervention was. And I just didn't think that was going to do something for me.
Sheen, that's my favorite one. And
Yeah.
and I thought the same thing. I saw in scripture, about the images, about the idols, about the it's not me doing it, the moaning and groaning, all that. And it made intellectual sense. But the first time I did it, it was like, okay, this feels kind of weird, maybe a little bit contrived even, and it was explosive for me. And
Yes, that's the word.
that's my favorite one now. So I'm
Yeah.
glad I have a partner in that.
I feel the same way. Okay, so if I could ask one more question.
Okay.
I'm in the heart season, so I'm desperately looking for inspirations to keep going, right? And not be held back by fear and all of that. And so recently I followed this big mindset trainer or coach or something for free. Okay. Just I can only do things for free. And it was so inspiring. And actually this person's already dead. His principle is still being carried out. He's kind of the
Yeah.
father of many mindset gurus nowadays. And that talked about having a specific goal and you picture it, you think about the details, and you own it. That's yours, and so on and so forth. And so many of the principles he shared were so motivating, and I started to practice and I started to see progress. However, back in my head, I just feel like it's conflicting with what we've been talking about. And then, that sentence of expectations are the happiness killer. I'm like, okay, this is truly, you're expecting that it's yours. Like, I'm like, how do I reconcile it? I
I
hope
can
it.
help. I'm sorry to interrupt. Maybe I
That's
can
okay.
help you with that.
Yeah.
Yes, expectations are a happiness killer. That research from Harvard says if you take ownership of something in the future that's not completely under your control, number one, it makes you conflicted. because you know you're not completely under control. That's not completely under your control,
Right.
yet you're trying to take full control. The main thing, and this is the main thing they found in the study at Harvard, is it spikes your stress. So for years, I puzzled over that and was trying to come up with a program that would work for success after a client asked me about that when we had just been focused on health. And one of the keys I found is you have it end goal, and I don't even like calling it a goal, but you have the what I would say is call it a desire, call it a hope, call it a prayer, and don't take ownership of it, but let it become so real to you that you can feel it. But intentionally say, maybe in prayer, Father, I'm not taking ownership of this because I don't know for sure if this is what's best for me or not, but I think it is. So I'm going to work toward this. And that's my desire, my hope, my prayer. But if this is not what's best, then lead me to what's best. So you hold it with open hands, not closed hands, as a prayer, desire, or hope. And typically, if you do that, the negative goes away, and now you can move toward it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very helpful. Last question. How do I join the community? Is this something, does it happen naturally? Sorry, I missed the past couple of sessions.
The Facebook community?
Do you know? Are you familiar with Cindy and our
Yeah,
customer
yeah.
service? Just contact Cindy; she'll hook you up.
Okay. And we're talking about the mentorship you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yes, we
Okay.
are.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to keep building that out with more and more things.
Okay. Great. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
great.